Investors, traders, well, pretty much everybody has been afraid to get in front of Apple before the company's earnings because it's, well, how bad are earnings going to be? We've had all kinds of rumors floating around, the usual Apple rumors of cutbacks in screen orders, and maybe iPhone 5 sales are not going to be as good as expected. But the real problem has been that no one's quite sure exactly how the market is going to react. Like, what's good enough for Apple earnings for the fourth quarter? Well, at some point, you know that a stock that's falling from its September high at 705 down to 600, down to 550, at some point you know that it would get cheap enough. And it looks like we might have hit the cheap enough point when on January 15th, the stock fell to $486. This is a major floor if you look at the charts, but it also seems to have marked a big turn. On the 16th, we were up to, took the stock back up above $500. So I'm not saying necessarily we're ready to start a rally here. A lot of it depends on really what the company does announce for earnings. But if you're trying to figure out where this stock might go, it looks like, at least for this moment, that we've established where the floor might be. That 486 looks like a point where it's going to bring a lot of people into the market as buyers. The stock at that point is cheap enough. So if you say 486 is cheap enough, then the real test of that is going to be when the company announces earnings next week, whether you get a bounce down to that level or whether we're really put in a floor at that level and we'll move straight up from here. My guess is that there are going to be significant numbers of people who are disappointed by what Apple announces, that it looks like it's going to beat its own guidance but come in below Wall Street expectations for fourth quarter earnings. So we might get a test of 486. If we do, and it's a successful test and we go down to 486 and then bounce from there, or we get disappointing earnings, but the stock doesn't retreat to 486, I think you'd be pretty confident that 486 to 500 is really cheap enough on the stock and that it would be safe to buy it at that level going forward. This is Jim Jubak for Jubak Asset Management.